Thank you so much, folks. Please welcome Tom Nesher. We didn't even let them catch their breath. Thank you so much for being here. What a beautiful film. I have a lot of questions, but I also want to give the audience a chance to ask some questions too, so you could start preparing. But maybe start us from the beginning and tell us a little bit about where this all came from for you.
First of all, I'm seeing some familiar faces in the audience, so I'm happy to see you all here, and thank you for coming. I started writing this film a few years ago. I knew I wanted to be a filmmaker since I was very young, and I gathered notes for a film about two young girls. I wanted to make a film about young people while I'm still young, because my favorite movies were coming-of-age stories, and I wanted to have this opportunity of tell a story of teenagers while I'm completely not a teenager anymore. And when my brother... Is this working? Yes. When my brother passed away in a car accident, Ari, we were very, very close, and I couldn't really write about anything else. I kept on going back to loss and going back to writing about siblings. And this story was just all of my notes that I had from before, plus everything that was happening to me. I was looking for a way to find humor again in life and to find the ability to feel love and passion and just happiness. And I was in a very dark place. I was looking for a way to bring in some light, and I feel like in many ways the film was my light. It was like my candle going to a very dark room.
So this is a very personal story that you're bringing very publicly, and what do you audiences connect to this, even though it's so much from within you? What are people telling you? How are they connecting to this very personal story on the screen?
So, it's kind of amazing. I said it in the beginning, but I feel like it's a gift for me to be able to connect with people in such a deep level. It's like an amazing tool to skip the small talk and to get into something very deep with someone, because people feel how open and vulnerable this film is, and then they open themselves also to me. And it's been crazy showing this film also in Israel in this specific year where many people lost their loved ones, but also showing it around the world. We premiered it here in Tribeca. We've shown it, like, for example, last week in Greece. It's an amazing journey, and it's amazing how universal it actually is, this story of loss. And while I felt like it's very personal and specific in many ways, it's also touching people that I've never met, which is amazing.
Turns out we're all human, and we really can all connect. I have to talk about the amazing cast. Can you tell us a little bit about them? And I have to say, some actors get to stand back from the camera a little bit. Your actors were right there on top of the camera, basically, and that really captures every little detail. So they did a fantastic job. Tell us
Thank you.
Where they came from.
So first of all, this is the first time for both of the actresses ever being in front of a camera.
Wow.
They're both very young and talented and have a promising career ahead of them, but this is their first time. I've looked for probably anyone in that age group I met in a few months, and I was just having personal meetings with them. I was asking them, when you get angry with your mom, what does that sound like? Who are you jealous of and why? How are you talking with your best friends? I wanted to really get to know them, and I felt like I was casting, in a way, in nature, a tiger and a bunny, and they just had to really be a real tiger and a real bunny, and you want to see what happens when you put a tiger and a bunny together in the same room. And Bia was a real tiger and Daria was a real bunny, and they added so much from their own personal experiences to this film. We had 4 months of rehearsals, which is very rare. We met every day, we improvised on every scene, and I rewrote a lot of the script to fit the way they speak, the way their dialogue sounds but also the way they act. The relationship with the mother is very much influenced by Leah and the relationship she has with her mom. So they really brought in so much of themselves, so I feel just very blessed to have them.
They did a fantastic job, and they're definitely going places. Of course, I mentioned earlier, we can't ignore your father. I don't know if this is really annoying, but Avi Nesher is one of Israel's most celebrated filmmakers, if not the most. We've had him here so many times. What amazes me about this film is that it's nothing like his films. It's nothing like any Israeli film I've seen. It actually had a completely fresh energy. How does he interact with this? Is he like, what are you doing? That's not how you make a movie.
So my dad is like a classic Jewish dad, and he thinks I'm genius, like all Jewish fathers. He's very supportive. It was important to me to find my own voice and like to keep him away from the creative journey. So he wasn't really part of it, but he did come to set one day, the day when she pees from the truck. That was the day he was invited, but he was like thrown off set in lunch. But he was very sweet and supportive. I do feel like there's some similarities maybe to like Turn Left in the End of the World, so Olam Smola, if there are any Hebrew speakers. Just like a coming of age story that has like this a sense of life and comedy to it, but is also about loss. But it is very different just because it was very important to me to bring my own voice of my own generation. We are on our cell phones all day. Like, this is the activity I do most of the day. I'm just like in my feed scrolling. So I wanted to have that energy of like things moving all the time. Things are changing. Things are being like thrown off the screen. Having shots that are from an iPhone inside the film, like you see when they look in his phone, or when they text each other from Auschwitz and Tel Aviv. A very provocative scene for some. It was just important to me to have this kind of experience of the world in the filmmaking. So that's the result.
I'm going to ask two more questions, and then we'll open it to the audience. There's so many great scenes here, and a lot of them I'm always amazed by, like, you know, how challenging they must be. What was the most challenging scene for you?
So challenging could be many things. I think that the most important scene for us that was also physically challenging was the scene when she drowns her in the water. It's a very emotional scene. There's so much dialogue, so like you need to do every take from beginning to end, and it was shot in water. We were all in water. It was very cold. So that was a difficult scene, but we rehearsed for it so many times. We were in the water, like weeks before it. We shot it on an iPhone, and I edited it on my computer just to make sure that there's no line that is not needed, so we won't shoot anything that we're gonna take out in editing, because that's just cruel in such a scene when they're so cold. And then it was like very rewarding watching it in the editing room and seeing their performances, but it was possible that it will be that way only because we rehearsed so much and because neither I or them asked for money for rehearsals, because it's our first film, so it was only possible because we were so low budget.
I have to say that scene, I just happened to watch it again, and the use of sound in that, the way every time the camera goes underwater, we kind of like stop hearing anything, or we hear underwater things. And I don't know if you were lucky or just like took enough takes there or just got it right on the first try, that the second the camera like comes up for air, she comes up for air, and it kind of
So we brought a stunt woman to do that, and Daria didn't want us to use a stunt woman. She's an actual girl drowning, and I think, you know, like it's tough and it's hard, but it added so much to the way it seems real. Like you're really afraid and you feel like you're out of breath because she's out of breath. And I feel like that's just being lucky with having actresses that are really trusting and are just like going all for it.
So my final question is, and this is going in deep here, but obviously as a good coming of age story, our character transitions. What is that turning point for you? Where do you find her character to transition? When does she stop dyeing her hair?
So, first of all, the ending of the film for me was very much influenced by the Mexican film Y Tu Mama Tambien, the Cuarón film from 2001, where you see that eventually, like, they stop being young and they stop being, like, hopeful also. It's like, it's sad to stop being young, but it's also, you're maturing, and that's like a beautiful thing of nature, and she's able to listen for the first time, and when she listens, she's only then able to get the love back. Like, only when she releases her very tight grip on love, she's able to really receive love. So it is a happy ending and a beautiful way of coming of age, of like maturing. But there's also something that is always sad for me about becoming an adult. You're like letting go of your right to be special, or like this idea that you're the main character. There's like a term in Hebrew, lichyot beseret, which means living in a movie, but it like translates to like you're thinking that you are so special and living the special life. But I think that living that special life is a very beautiful thing also. So there's something also sad about maturing, but also hopeful you're able to grow with her and she's able to like take her head out of the water and to see light.
Beautiful. We'd love to make you a part of this conversation, and we have a microphone that we could pass around.
Oh, you're so tall.
I see a hand all the way up in the balcony.
How would you get the microphone?
Do you want to yell it and I'll repeat it? Yeah.
First off, it was so beautiful. It was like one of my favorite films that I've seen in a long time. So thank you. Yeah, thank you. Can you talk about your relationship with your DP at all, how you guys met and how you crafted it?
I'm just going to repeat it for the audience. Can you talk about your relationship with your DP, the director of photography?
First of all, I regret not taking my class.
I offered.
So my DP, Shai, thank you. He is like, I know him because he takes videos of parties in Tel Aviv, and he like, if you walk around in Tel Aviv, you see him mostly like skateboarding with a camera and like being crazy. So that's the energy I wanted for the film. He's like one of the more experienced people on set. Like a lot of us, it's our first time. It's the first time for the costume designer, for the set designers, and for the actors, and for me. But for him, he like made films before, and he just had this very free-spirited vibe, like the Itu Mama También vibe of like holding a camera in his hands, not needing a grip. Like he was just on the skateboard doing many of the shots. It was also scary sometimes because like the camera got wet in water and like it was crazy, as low budget films tend to get. But he was amazing. He did an amazing job and we were very close. I showed him a lot of references. I had an iPad and I like jawed all the shots before, so we were very prepared and very much aligned. And it was great working with him.
Every frame is just extraordinary. The colors are fantastic.
Thank you.
Being shy tonight, we have one down here. Let me grab one down here.
Thank you. Congratulations on showing us the film. I was wondering, when I saw the water scene, I thought of Turn Left at the End of the World. And I didn't think about, maybe you got that from your father. I didn't think about it at the moment. But what I'm thinking and wondering now is in his movie, in Turn Left at the End of the World, it's a scene of great happiness. The two men floating together in the mud, and we don't know what will happen next. And in your film, I was terrified in the water, and I wasn't sure she survived the water. I was wondering if you had any connection in your framing.
So water could be a metaphor for many things, and it's an interesting state of being in water. I surfed for many years. I surfed until I was, until I went to the army, basically. And I feel like the sea could be a very scary place, but it also could be like a thing of romance and something that is associated with relaxation, but also could be very frightening. So I went back every time with a lot of the scenes to the sea. They are celebrating his birthday in the sea. He like dies near the sea. There's all this feeling of big chances, big love, big death, big life. And I feel like that's very much from the tone of the film and like how I feel about being a teenager in general. You have these big emotions and you're taking big chances on things, and you don't know how will you come out of it, but you need to surf the wave somehow.
We have some questions down here.
I also love the film. It's just brilliant, and I'm so happy that you're here talking about it.
Thank
so
you.
then we get more of an insight. My question has to do with, like, as you show the film in other countries, I'm just wondering, like, because it's very Israeli, and I'm just wondering, are you getting any sort of like the anti-Israel sentiment, even though this film, as you said, was very universal? And I'm just wondering if you're having to fight against any of that.
Yeah, so definitely yes. We had like a protest against one of our screenings in Greece, for example. Actually, it was funny because someone in the audience like asked me, "What do I think about like the way they politicized the film?" And then there was an earthquake, so I couldn't answer. So I was happy. God,
So
didn't
that's
want
a
me
good
to
move.
answer,
That's a
yeah.
good move.
So there are some people that would like to see it as politics, but I think that those people are always also people that just see life like very black and white, like it's a soccer game where you need to just like choose your side. And I don't see life as a soccer game. I think that you can see complexity in humans from everywhere. And I feel like this film is just like a film about people and not a film about any policy or politics in any way.
It's one of the things that makes this film so important. It reminds us this is not showing a film about who's right or wrong in the Middle East. It's showing us that there are people in the Middle East, and that's what we need to be reminded of at every second. We had another question up here.
Hi, I really like the film, and first of all, my comments. The lead looks a lot like you,
We gotten more similar throughout the shooting. We didn't start similar at all.
and Nati looks pretty similar to Ari.
That's the way he was casted. That I have nothing to say about. That's true.
Now, I wanted to say I didn't see it like an Israeli film. I saw it like an international film, but I saw two divided parts of the film. The first part of the film is now age, but the second part of the film is more the 80s, the 70s. When you film, where did you film the Sinai? We really filmed in the Sinai?
Yeah, so filming in Sinai is not allowed for Israelis, and yet we took a camera and we broke it to many pieces, and we did the long shots in Sinai.
Because they looked like Mahagana to me.
Yeah,
I spent
so
a lot of time there.
It is in Sinai. And then all the close-ups we did inside of Israel, we just like built a beach that is similar.
Okay.
Yeah, and it was important to me to shoot on location in places that are like connected to Tel Avivian places, like a Teder and like other places. Like whoever visited Tel Aviv knows all of those places.
We have one question right there from Miss Sarah Rosen in the middle. Sarah, please give the microphone back after.
I'll try. Thank you so much for being here. As you have mentioned, it's a very personal film, and I was wondering, sometimes it can be hard to sort of objectively tell a story if you're too close to it. And I was wondering if you ever faced that in any of the scenes and what that was like.
So this film is not at all based on true events. It is very much based on true emotions and things I was going through. And I remember like the actual writing of it. I remember the way I was feeling, and I was like, I have this fantasy of wearing all the clothes. I didn't wear all the clothes. I definitely didn't drown anyone. But it was very true to the way I was feeling and not at all to the things that happened in the way they did. And I felt like the perspective of the filmmaking, of the cinema of it all, is taking Eden's side all the time and Eden's point of view. There are no scenes without Eden. You don't see how do the parents argue behind closed doors. You're only taking her point of view, which is my point of view also. And I felt like that was a big part of the filmmaking of it, and just like how we create memories, like what is left out of a night, for example, like with the frames and the disposable camera. This is the night where he died, but these are the shots that are gonna be kept forever, or the way we see it on the phone. It's like I tackled a lot this idea of memory and the way we remember things, and the way we also document them on social media, for example, where you have like only the best of the best, the highlight of the party. Everything looks amazing. Colors are magnificent. Like everything is the best it ever could be. And that is very much to my opinion, like the way we document it on social media or the way we remember our memories from high school. Like, I don't remember myself waiting for the time to pass in my room. I remember the parties, I remember the beach, and that's the way I wanted the filmmaking to be also.
It's interesting. It's the way people sometimes would remember things in black and white, and now it's being remembered in just vivid colors. The film is Israel's official entry to the Academy Awards. What can this audience do to help?
Oof, Anthony, what should they do? Our producer.
Tell everybody
everyone.
about this film. That's the bottom line.
Yeah, no, you need to spread the word if you like the film, because we're a tiny, tiny, tiny campaign, and there's other films with a lot of resources that we don't have, and we're really just trying to get to the people one by one. So if you know people, let them know that you like the film.
The Israel Film Center here at the JCC in Manhattan is also the fiscal sponsor for this film to support its road to the Oscars, so you can help support in that way as well. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. And thank you.